First, live, local. This is First Alert Weather Extra.
Hey, good evening and welcome to First Alert Weather Extra. It is I almost said Wednesday. It is Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock. We are recording this and playing this live. Hopefully you're watching live. But welcome. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mark Nelsen. This is our weather show we do almost every weekday. And I've got Payton Major here as well.
Hello, good evening. I was about to say good morning. Maybe we're a little thrown off, Mark.
Well, you know, a lot of people can, it's easy, these are on our webpage. You just go to kptv.com, the weather page, and they're all lined up.
Well, maybe good morning then if you're watching this in the morning.
Nowadays, this is on demand. You can watch this whenever you want, folks.
Yeah.
You can watch it live, but you can also watch it on demand as well. We're happy if you watch.
Definitely.
We just, put some effort into it, so we're happy that you are watching. We've got a bit to cover this evening. First, we're going to go over to Payton in just a second, but first we're going to cover the fog. Payton, you said there was some fog on the way back from your little dinner break.
Already in Beaverton, so
all right.
Yeah.
West side of town. But it won't last long in the metro because we've got a gusty east wind arriving. We're going to give you the timing on that. And then new information came out today about the snowpack across the state. Second worst on record. So I'll talk about that. And got a big H and high pressure. And we'll talk about, kind of what we see maybe, when do we see the change coming up? Because eventually, right, it has to go back to normal weather, right? So more on that in just a few minutes. So Payton, you are on. Tell me all about the fog.
Yes.
Oh, can we talk about inversions too? I'm in an inversion mood.
Of course you can talk about inversions,
okay,
Mark.
Good.
It's all we talk about anyway. Okay, so we got viewer photos first that kind of tell a story on their own, which I was really appreciative to see when I got in today. We have Bob Skiles and Clackamas that shared, I'm assuming Clackamas River looks like it, and dense fog there with some Canadian geese. Looks like maybe some ducks, can't tell, but they're enjoying it. And then Mary Ann has this view of Mount Jefferson from high above. You can see if you kind of squint the fog that's kind of accumulating there in the lower elevations. This is another great image from Brandon Bachman from our OHSU tram. And yeah, you can see Mount Hood, but also all the fog that was accumulating in the low-lying areas. Okay, so basically today was super warm if you were in the mountains. It was beautiful and sunny in parts of the foothills and the coast. But if you weren't there, then we probably didn't see the sun till the early afternoon, sometimes around noon. It just depended on where. But here's our January mountain observed high temperatures. By the way, Mark, Timberline hit 60, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't update the graphic.
That's okay. I didn't think about it either. 59 is actually 60 for Timberline Lodge. Government Camp was 64 today. Sandian Pass, 66. A couple kind of isolated areas like Log Creek, 74. Guys, that's crazy. So it's just really warm up in the mountains today. Observed highs locally. Portland is in the low 50s. Salem, Eugene, 40s. It was a little bit more dense there. We gave you the first alert a couple days ago that we thought the fog would probably linger a little longer in the central valleys today. And then 60s for Newport and Florence, the coast. So very interesting day. Bend was in the low 60s. Pendleton was 60 degrees, 50s, and upper 40s elsewhere. So we had a wintertime inversion. Here's the much anticipated explainer. Basically, we have warm high pressure above. And what happens is we have a very weak sun angle this time of year. It takes a while for that sun to get at least high enough in the sky to warm us up. But another thing is we got longer nights than days. And so those two factors together basically traps cold air in those low-lying areas in the valleys, near riverbeds. And that's just because, we're not able to warm in the amount of daylight we have. So when we have areas like fog or just moisture in general, even pollutants, maybe you saw that stagnant air advisory, that is all because it's getting trapped in that cold layer that's a little closer to the valley locations. So that's why we have the gray, gloomy weather in the valleys, where in the mountains and sometimes on the coast, it's beautiful and sunny. So we currently have a dense fog advisory until noon tomorrow. This is longer than yesterday. So National Weather Service is also in agreement that this fog is going to linger a little longer than what we experienced today, especially if you are in the metro area. I know I'm in Beaverton. I went on a walk at 11:30. It was still pretty foggy, but I was finally able to see it lifting at that point. It may be past noon until that happens for tomorrow, and visibility may be a quarter mile or less. It's going to be very random, and it's going to fluctuate throughout the morning too. It's going to be real dense in some spots. 5 miles down the road, not as dense. So that will include the morning commute, and I know that can make things a little slow out there. So prepare for that. Maybe give yourself a few extra minutes tomorrow morning. Here's our latest model run as of the last 30 minutes. You can see at 7 a.m. there's that dense fog, again, hugging the I-5 corridor right where that dense fog advisory is. And then I pulled up temperatures so you can see just how much cooler it's going to be in those foggy areas compared to the areas that are exposed to sunshine, like the coast. And, you know, we'll probably see 50s there. So, again, it's all about location. We hear that a lot, but if you're in the Metro and Valley, fog will linger. It'll be much cooler, highs in the 40s, coast and mountains, sunny and much warmer. Valley forecast for tomorrow, Kelso's 47, down to Albany, be in the low 40s, Salem 43, McMinnville 44, and in the Metro, same thing, maybe slightly warmer just depending on where that fog is the most dense. It's going to be a random kind of temperature forecast most likely, again, because the fog is pretty random. But yeah, expect clouds for most of the daylight hours tomorrow. The gorge on the west end will have the fog and clouds, mainly sunny on the east end. Highs getting warmer on the east end as well. And then Mount Hood is where it's sunny, and this is where you're seeing that 60 at government camp. It really pops out because you're thinking government camp shouldn't be 60 degrees, but that's just where it's sunny, and it's above where that inversion layer is happening. The coast, low 50s, so not too big of a difference from the valleys, but it's still warmer if you need a spot to go. That's going to be sunny and warmer. Mainly sunny in eastern Oregon, and again, north, as we mentioned, we'll have patchy fog and clouds. Burns, Baker City, mid to upper 40s. So that's really it. We're going to have that pattern again Thursday, but it's not going to be that strong. I think hopefully the fog will clear a little bit sooner than we're going to see tomorrow. So tomorrow's that one gray, cooler day. Hopefully we'll see the mid-50s again by Thursday. We also have a gusty east wind coming into play, which Mark's going to get into a little bit more, and that helps stir up the atmosphere. What's happening here is we're just stagnant, and there's nothing that's going to really move that air around. So when we have wind, hopefully that'll shake things up a bit. But yeah, that's going to begin Thursday. But Mark, more on the east wind now.
Yeah, the reason we're going to see, well, the reason we're seeing this big inversion is because we have strong high pressure overhead. Is the H big enough here, you think?
Maybe it needs to be a little bigger.
Jeff Fordron, who used to work here, he's in the energy business now, but he used to have, his H's were just huge when he draw them. I'd have to make them a little smaller. It kind of annoyed me.
It's still a joke.
God bless him, he was a great guy. Anyway, or still is. Look at the jet stream here. So we want to show you big area of high pressure over the west coast. Very warm air. Let's go through the next week. It doesn't move much. This is right now, all right? We go into tomorrow and then Thursday. Okay, it's centered a little bit to our west on Friday. It doesn't mean too much. One thing it does mean is that allows slightly cooler air to come down into the Rockies. That's a little higher pressure at the surface. That does affect our wind. Okay, so then it's sitting there Friday. It's still more or less in here Saturday. Sunday it's still there, and Monday it's still there. And this is a total block on weather systems. That's why our 7-day forecast is so dry. Nothing is moving into the Pacific Northwest in this setup. Very warm overhead. We get the cool air stuck in the valleys. All right, it does look like there's some sort of change about next Wednesday and Thursday. Each one of our forecast models is a little bit different. Some models imply the high pressure backs off quite a bit and allows cooler and showery air to come in. You know, there's snow down to like 2,000 feet and some scattered showers. I don't think there's a single model right now that later next week has a strong weather system coming straight in at us from the west. So I think the best we'll get moisture-wise is some showers in the second half of next week. Most important maybe for you folks watching is do we get plenty of cool air that comes down out of Canada and it gets pretty chilly beyond this heading into that next weekend? Highs, you know, 40 degrees and lows way down in the 20s. That could happen. I think more likely we just have some light showers and high temperatures go back to the 40s again. We'll see. Payton showed you this, the low clouds stuck all day tomorrow. What about Thursday though? With the east wind moving in, here's Thursday morning. Look at what happens. Bang. Models aren't always perfect getting rid of the low clouds, but we think there's enough dry air coming in from the east Thursday, and also Friday, low clouds really disappear just about everywhere west of the Cascades. We will start to see low clouds develop over the entire Columbia Basin, though probably more widespread than that. Here's the wind gust forecast. So again, as Payton mentioned, we need the wind to get rid of the fog and low clouds on Thursday. Here's Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, it is pushing into the east side of the metro. And typically this setup, and these gusts, these will be too low. Our model doesn't have the resolution to handle the gorge very well. But if we're going to see gusts, 50, 60 miles per hour out at the west end of the gorge Thursday afternoon, that's typically enough to get the fog out of the metro area. And it's even stronger on Friday. Big wind days Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can see that just in the, if we just look at Troutdale only, Around sunrise Thursday, it's quiet, foggy, low clouds. Then look how quickly the wind ramps up, gusts 30 to 40 immediately. So yeah, pretty windy from that point all the way through the weekend. I think Payton, did we talk about this yesterday? I forget. I think we did. Yeah. Strong east wind. We get that from the cool air. That if you can watch the previous video, you can go to kptv.com. It's from Tuesday or Monday night, talks about this in more detail. But basically, we get this in the wintertime when we have stagnant weather conditions, cool air stuck east of the Cascades. There's one gap through the Cascades, the gorge, and that's why the wind really accelerates at the west end. The wind is not strong, by the way, anywhere east of Stevenson in this setup. It's all about the west end of the gorge in the wintertime. And if you live up in Clark County this weekend, Washington County away from the West Hills, Washington County to the south, you won't get any sort of strong wind. It'll only be in these areas here, central and east metro. And closer to the closer to the river you get, and the mouth of the gorge, the windier it gets. So there's our 7-day forecast. You see we got a lot of sunshine. I think once the east wind gets rid of the cloud cover on Thursday, we are all sunny in the metro Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think we have 4 days that are probably cloudless. And high temperatures will cool a bit because the air is going to be coming from that cool high pressure east of the Cascades. Highs right around 50. And I've got the lows like right around freezing. Here's the deal. Where it goes calm, it's going to dip into the 20s. Where it's windy, it won't get below 35, 38 degrees. So I just took the kind of the middle ground there. We'll see a mixture of freezing and non-freezing nights. All right, so once we get to maybe Tuesday, could we finally see some showers? Or probably not Tuesday, I think more likely on Wednesday. In fact, let's take a look. Next 10 days in the I-5 corridor. This takes us through Friday the 23rd through the end of next week. Lowland snow, nope, I think it's unlikely below 2,000 feet. Could we see snow down to that elevation? Possibly later next week. As of now, we don't see an Arctic blast or really cold stuff, but we are watching just beyond the 10-day forecast. Several models keep trying to push maybe some Arctic air close to us. So we're keeping our eyes on that, but for now, don't panic, we don't see anything imminent. Windstorm, no, we don't see any strong areas of low pressure through the next 10 days from the west, so no windstorms. And of course, it has to rain, so there's no flooding coming up. All right, Cascades update. Let's do a quick Cascades update here. What do we see coming up in the mountains? Well, that's a view from the top of Mount Hood Meadows from Nathan. I think this was probably over the weekend because we got that picture yesterday, right? Yeah, because you can see the fresh snow on the mountains, on the trees. That is not the case right now because it was really warm today. As Payton mentioned, it was 60. Average snow depth at timberline, usually by mid-January, it's averaging about 100 inches here, just under about 100 inches now. But you can see where we are right now. Wow, only about 40 inches there, so way below normal. In fact, at the bottom of the Poochie Lift, there's a long-term snow measuring site, goes back to about 1980. We're down to 40 inches again, and that is the lowest in quite a few years. So yeah, it's pretty bad. In fact, more than half of the typical snowpack on the ground this time of the year is missing up on Mount Hood. And Oregon, if you just take the average, the USDA put out their numbers today, their water supply outlook said it's about 46% of normal averaged across the whole state, which is second lowest on record going back. I think it goes back about 50 years or so, those records. The point is, I think my guess is that was 76, 77 that winter. So yeah, things are in pretty bad shape. So again, second lowest in 46 years statewide. We have had plenty of precipitation. If you just were to say, okay, what's the percent of normal rainfall? We've had it up in the mountains too, but we've had warm storms in December. That was the problem. There was some slight improvement last week with the 2 to 3 feet of snow, but we don't see any significant snow coming up the next 7 days. But no need to panic yet. If it looked like this in March, big issue. But we got plenty of things that could change. It could suddenly go to a cool and wet pattern. Second half of winter, we easily make it up. So we will see. Just for tomorrow at the Cascades, it's going to be sunny and very warm again. We figure about 60 Government Camp, mid-50s at Timberline. Notice it's cooler down in the valley at Welch's under that cooler air. And this also means driving through the passes will be just fine all the way through Tuesday. One last graphic, and then we'll finish up here. The next 7 days on Mount Hood. It will be cooler on Mount Hood beginning Thursday. You might guess why. That's why we'd be cooling down into the low 40s, even though the high pressure is very strong overhead. We start the cool air east of the Cascades banks up against Mount Hood, the east slopes of Mount Hood, so could even be colder than this. But 30s and 40s, so at least that'll slow down the snow melt. But no new snow all the way through next Tuesday. None. That's rare in January, Payton, to say 7-day snow forecast on Mount Hood is none.
Crazy.
All right.
I may go to the mountain this weekend, but we'll see.
What? You're waiting until there's, well, although there won't be as many people, so maybe you won't, you know. Do you just want to go hang out in the snow and see? You don't ski,
see,
right?
I'm not a skier.
So you're going to just go to Timberline or Meadows, or just go have food and drink and enjoy the
view.
view.
Yeah, hot cocoa, sled down a couple hills.
And blindingly bright sunshine. That's pretty neat.
Right, and then...
And it will be comfortable up there.
Yes, I haven't been to Mount Hood in years, Mark, so I gotta go.
Oh, yeah, get up there.
Yeah.
Timberline Lodge, no one's paying me to say this, but you just go up there. Even at night is pretty cool, too, up in that bar on the middle level.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
That sounds fun. We'll see.
Okay, well, that wraps it up. I don't think we have anything else to add. Thanks for joining us on First Alert Weather Extra. We've got something special tomorrow night. We're going to talk about sediment retention up at Mount St. Helens, so that's something a little bit different. We'll cover a little bit of weather, too, so we'll see you then on First Alert Weather Extra.